Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 3 on DraftKings is 1 day away. Kickoff is tomorrow morning. We're going to go over 5 players that I think you have to play this weekend in NFL DFS in tournaments because they're going to be really low played and they have really, really high ceilings. I'm kind of shocked by a couple of the names on the list this week. Some of them you're going to recognize. Some of them you're going to think, wow, that guy is only going to be that low in tournaments. Well, yeah, that's kind of the way that it works. You can't play everybody, and players tend to gravitate towards the standard build, which kind of centers around cash games and then finds its way into tournaments. So like, it's very easy to leverage and get off of certain things or to play chalk differently. If you wanted access to my cheat sheet where I go over top plays that I think are going to be under 10% on the week, stacks that are expensive, cheap budget stacks, cash game core, and everything else, make sure that you head over to Discord at smizzle.tv/Discord, and you must be a channel member here on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch. To become a channel member here on YouTube, it is $5 a month. You can look right down below and click join, or you can go to smizzle.tv/join. Once you're in the Discord, you will find instructions on how to get yourself verified through Discord that you are a channel member here on YouTube, and then you will find the cheat sheet there in the cheat sheet folder. Very straightforward and simple. There are plenty of people in Discord to help you out. Just scroll around a little bit and you'll find it. Other than that, thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Do it. I'll wait, because I know that like 35% of y'all love watching these videos and I come out with a lot of them. So why not subscribe? You're here, I'm here. Let's be here together. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go. The Week 3 Smiz Gang Listener League, 4,000 entrants total. That's the biggest that we have this week. 2,400 or so have already joined. We're recording this on Friday morning at 10:45 Pacific time, so this is probably going to fill somewhat early. So make sure that you get your entries locked now. $10 to enter, 3 max, 0 rake, the best tournament that exists on DraftKings, but it's not in the lobby. If you want to get into the Smiz Gang Listener League, you got to go to smizzle.tv/links. That will give you the Listener League link. It also has a Discord link. It also has the link to the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel, where I put the recap video every single Monday and shout out the top 10 finishers in the Listener League. So go to the link tree, smizzle.tv/links, and like go right down the list. Click, 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 click all the things. Derrick Henry is our first player under 5% this week, 7,400 at Cleveland, 4.7% owned on projection. 7 targets through the first 2 weeks is extremely, extremely positive. 29 opportunities against the Chargers is extremely, extremely positive. This game could turn into a slow slog, but Derrick Henry definitely is that type of guy who has big playability, can break off a 65-yard touchdown run or screen pass. Throw him more screen passes, please. When you get blockers in front of this guy and he's running downhill, it's absurd how much damage he can do, not just to a defensive back, but to everybody else in tournaments, the 95+% of them who don't seem to want to play him this week. He's being sandwiched on both sides salary-wise by Tony Pollard at 8K and Travis Etienne at 6,900. You've also got Bijan Robinson, the bright, shiny new toy that everybody wants to get into their lineup. So like, people forget about Derrick Henry. They just forgot that the big dog exists, and he's sitting out here ready to score 3 touchdowns for you any given week. It doesn't have to be when he has the best matchup, because he is somewhat of a matchup proof running back. It's an offense that can't hang its hat on throwing the football. They have to ride the big dog for them to get to where they want to go, whether it's at home or on the road, whether they're favored or whether they're underdogs. Unless the game gets out of hand and they get down like 17 points or so, you're going to get a heavy dose of Derrick Henry, and that's exactly what I want to buy into. In the case that the players around him fail, it leads you to a little bit of a differentiated lineup build around a player that we know can break slates by himself. Our other running back on the week is going to be James Cook, coming off of a fantastic game, but now on the road against Washington, and all of a sudden he's only projecting at 3.2% at 6,400. Another interesting situation. 10 targets through the first 2 games, the perfect prototypical running back for DraftKings scoring. Now, historically, Josh Allen hasn't thrown the ball a ton to his running backs. We know that, but things change, and he's got 4 catches in each of the first 2 weeks. They know that he is their most dynamic back. Yes, he could possibly seed inside the 5 carries to either one of the corpse of Latavius Murray or Damian Harris, right? Either one of those things could happen, but also they also might not happen, or he could score from 12 to 15 yards out. The fact that he does not have that inside the 5 work, I think, is going to hold his percentage down on a week in, week out basis. He's going to be someplace that you can look to, A, to either leverage off of Josh Allen stacks, which will always be somewhat popular, or B, get you in a situation where people don't want to play him because they don't feel that he has the upside, because he might get vultured for touchdowns inside the 5. Aren't you worried about bros? They're around. They're like the vultures in those old Looney Tunes cartoons. Aren't you worried about Damian Harris or Latavius Murray stealing inside the 5 touches? Well, like, sure, a little bit, but also I'm not, because we're playing for the best case scenario. Much like drafting best ball tournament lineups, you want to draft as though you're right. And if you think that James Cook has the possibility of scoring a 25-point day, he had 23 last week without a touchdown on volume alone, you have somebody who could pay off for less than 5% played. So let's head over to Underdog Fantasy. And if you have not claimed your free $100 on Underdog Fantasy, I don't know why you haven't. Use code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE, all one word. Just kind of squish it together. And you get a first-time deposit bonus of up to $100 on your first deposit to the site. I've got the 2 guys we just talked about. Derrick Henry combined rushing and receiving yards, 90.5. James Cook over 74.5 rushing and receiving yards. We're going to go higher on both because I'm a donkey and I kind of don't care. I don't want to root for punts. I want to root for good football, and I want to watch big plays. We're going to do this for $50 to win $150. Click submit on that one. Ship it into Underdog. Go give them your business. They're amazing. They also have these really fun Battle Royale drafts, which is a 6-round draft that you wrap around a daily fantasy tournament sort of scoring. Really fun. They take like 10 minutes each. 6 people, and you play against everybody in the prize pool. You win thousands of dollars doing that too. So take advantage of the free $100 that you have waiting for you over on Underdog. And let's get back to the video. Jordan Addison, you didn't think, did you, that there was going to be somebody from the Chargers in Minnesota on this video? Because everyone and their moms, their moms are playing daily fantasy this week too. Last week, it was the grandmas that were better than Rachaad White, apparently, but not really. And this week, everybody's mom is playing this game. They're all stacking the Chargers and Minnesota, but they're all doing it the same way. It's either going to be Kirk Cousins with Justin Jefferson and Mike Williams, or it's going to be Justin Herbert with Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson, which leaves Jordan Addison at 4.35% projected. This seems like a perfect tournament lineup. Jordan Addison is not a cash game play, and I'll tell you why. We're clouded by the fact that he has scored 2 long touchdowns in week 1 and week 2. He's averaging 16.2 fantasy points per game, but in both games, in this one, you're looking at a 13.2 point touchdown, and in this game, you're looking at an 11-point touchdown. That highly impacted his score. But he is exactly the type of boom-bust play that we want to attack, and the Chargers have been horrible at defending down the field. They just cannot stop teams from passing over the top on them. And I don't know if that's going to change this week. The fastest pace game, both team totals rising, the overall total rising, a 1-point spread. This game could absolutely go bonkers with like 65 or 70 real life points. And if you're telling me that I can get access to it in a way that's going to differentiate from the way that the rest of the field is going and give me exposure to this high grade offensive environment, but still keeping my ownership percentages low, both cumulative and based on a product setting where I'm going to be able to offset some chalk with a really low owned play, Jordan Addison is exactly that boom bust play that I want to look at. Cash games, we want really high floor players that are going to get us 8, 9, 10 targets every single week, get us a whole lot of yards. In tournaments, I'll take a guy that's going to get me 5 to 8 targets a game, with many of them being downfield looks where it just takes that one play to make him fantastic. And if he happens to get 2 and breaks off a classic Will Fuller 4-catch, 125, 2-touchdown day, you're dancing, which is what we love to do on this channel. Courtland Sutton, he's kind of the anti-Addison in the fact that he is a lower ADOT sort of player. Now with Jerry Jeudy back, he is getting looks downfield. He's been missed on 2 looks downfield already, a 21-yard long and a 15-yard long in the first 2 weeks. Jeudy back, in my opinion, helps him. Miami has projected to play from ahead in this one. I believe that they're like 8-point favorites at the time we looked earlier. I believe that they're 8-point favorites in this one. I could be wrong. Don't fact check me. I'm close. But Courtland Sutton going to demand 20+% of the target market share, projecting at only 2.46%. And if you wanted to use him as a part of a secondary stack with the much more popular Tyreek Hill, who's going to carry a large percentage with him, Courtland Sutton gives you a release valve on salary to get you back down to a place where like Puka and Debo were last week. One was 56, one was 49. And correlate well with your Tyreek Hill play if that's the route that you're going, to get you a high-priced wide receiver outside of Justin Jefferson, which I think is extremely possible. And Tyreek Hill, a former breaker of slates and still lives in that role, did it in week 1. So here we have a high correlation play with a high team totaled offense on the other side, and Denver projecting to play from behind. So we could see an uptick in terms of volume for Courtland Sutton and less attention paid because of the presence of one Jerry Jeudy. So Courtland Sutton, all of those things add up to him being a very solid under 5% play. And finally, at tight end, we have Evan Engram once again, Cocoa Butter himself, 8 targets last week. He is your leverage play off of the Travis Etienne chalk tsunami that is somewhat incoming. No touchdowns through the first 2 games. Zay Jones has been the one who's garnered the majority of the end zone targets, but with him banged up and Calvin Ridley getting a little banged up last week, Christian Kirk was the one who got all the shine. But it's not like Evan Engram did not get any looks himself, with 6 catches on 8 targets in a very, very slow and underperforming game against Kansas City's defense. We thought that game was going to be one of the biggest shootouts on the slate, but now Houston in Jacksonville is going to be an extremely exploitable way to go. And typically the way that you attack Houston is on the ground, which is why everybody's going to flock towards Travis Etienne. So if we can get off of that and leverage that by going to Evan Engram and also pay up a little bit to be contrarian. That mid-range at tight end is the spot where most people aren't willing to go in their tournament lineups. He's projecting at 4.3% this weekend. People want to spend $3,500 or down, or they want to go all the way up to the 3 premium guys, Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, possibly a Mark Andrews. And Evan Engram is just priced in this no man's land where nobody's going to be on him. We know that Houston receivers are going to be somewhat popular, at least as release valves. Guys like Tank Dell, Robert Woods, and Nico Collins. He provides you, does Evan Engram, with a way to get different and also correlate with high value plays on the other side. That's our 5 under 5 this week. Let's head over to Fantasy Labs. Go to smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. If you wanted to check this out, I have entered this rule in our player groups here that says use at least one of Derrick Henry, James Cook, Jordan Addison, Courtland Sutton, and Evan Engram. If you wanted to build lineups, let's say you wanted to build 150 lineups, my normal position rules are right here. They're in plenty of videos. Go to the How to Win on DraftKings checklist, playlist if you wanted to check that out. And we're going to be forcing at least one player under 10 in every lineup, and that's going to come from this player group. We apply those settings. We click generate, go play around with the tools that they have over at Fantasy Labs. They have helped me win the showdown on Monday night. Love Fantasy Labs when it comes to showdown slates, as well as building my Millionaire Maker lineups every single week. And so I wish you guys the best of luck here in week 3. Leave me a reply down below. Let me know who you're targeting that's a low percentage, and look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.